Okay, that's some part of what actually transpired, how the governor eventually got that. But what we didn't also show, because it's also being circulated, how the APC chairman, upon getting to the police station, was with his scarf, and eventually, while the lady in question was coming out, they saw his scarf with the lady. And then the impression is that, look, if you're not with the same interests of politicians, they get antagonistic with you. But that was the hand of fellowship, as they describe it. Why would that happen between the APC chairman and the lady in question?
That analysis is so simplistic that I imagine that no serious mind will bother themselves about a cab moving, a cab and no cab. For God's sake, we're talking about some very serious issues. We're talking about safety of a lady who was being harassed, being intimidated.
The other part is that they said actually that she was trying to rewrite the elections for your party.
At the time she was taken to the police station, I am told by the AIG and the DPO that I met that they immediately collected the result from her the moment she arrived and sent it to the state CID. The place is there. They said this before all of us.
Yeah, but she was taken because you said you didn't know how she got there.
I don't know how she got there.
So who took her there?
Now, she said she escaped from a mob.
Okay. Now, she escaped from a mob. She ran there. She was taken there.
By the police.
All sorts of stories. But what we saw on some pictures, I mean, I've been circulating around social media, was that she was in the police station.
Yes, she was in the police station.
We saw her coming out of the police station. She was being held by the hand by somebody who is said to be the DSS detail of the current acting DG NDDC. That's Madam Ibim's DSS detail. Just a moment. And that she was wearing the face cap that the APC chairman had worn to the venue. That's to the Mile 1 police station. And was being escorted out. You say she was being escorted into the vehicle of the AIG. But, you know, some people will doubt very strongly when they have in very clear detail, you know, the DSS allegedly taking the woman out wearing the cap of the APC chairman. You don't think that should spell some sort or set off some sort of suspicion from the other party when that happens?
Now, there are issues we've ignored to address. Yes, Onwike got there to my one police station 1 hour before I came. Should Yes Onwike be in my one police station for any reason? That's one. Two, when we got there, we didn't do anything unto us. I approached the DPO of the station, tried to know what's going on. The DPO addressed us. The AIG volunteer is there. Everyone has access to, everyone will have access to AIG. I can imagine that everyone will have access to AIG volunteer. He's a higher ranking police officer. And these questions can be put to him. At the end of it, Bonanta said, I'm taking this lady in my own car. I'm taking her to the state CID. We'll pick up the results that are in state CID and move to INEC. I will personally hand her over to INEC.
Why do you think her face, her identity needed to be protected?
I wouldn't know.
Why didn't the police?
I'm a security
I'm just wondering, you were there in the police station. If you saw some of these things, perhaps you could provide. That's why we're asking you. Why do you think that her face was being covered with the face cap that belonged to the APC chairman? When all the time, from the visuals that we have, the governor of the state was outside the police station. In fact, some reports say that he wasn't let into the police station.
I don't know how to describe that. Before we got there, and by the time I got there, I was told by the DPO that the governor abused him thoroughly and that he nearly would have physically beat him up. He said this in presence of AIG Bolanta. He said it in presence of other persons.
Was it the DPO that called you?
No, the DPO didn't call me. I mean, when I got to the police station, the DPO told me this.
Okay. Well, the other part of this is, because many will say, you say, what was the governor doing there? What if they say, well, he's the chief security officer in the state, so he has to ensure peace happens. But yourself, the former governor, why would they be moving around on election day?
This is not election day. The day after elections.
That was when all of this transpired.
Yes. Now, let's assume the governor is chief security officer of the state. He's partisan.
Just a moment.
And there's a context between
You
two
say it's
parties.
a day after the election. What was she doing with results sheets on the day after the elections?
I wouldn't know.
Because it's strange. But they
It
thought
is.
that it's a day that they were supposed to announce those results, and nobody could reach her.
No, it's not about nobody could reach her. Everybody knows that she was kept there. She said she got there because she was being attacked, harassed, intimidated, and the police rescued her to my one police
Now,
station.
if all of that was...
Let's,
Okay, go ahead.
pardon me. Let's get across to the chairman of the PDP in River State. He joins us via phone. Felix Obuah. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, listening to the account, I'm sure, I don't know at what point you started watching, some allegations against your party trying to foment trouble. In fact, they lay it at the feet of the governor himself. What's your perspective about that?
Well, I'm happy you have said it's an allegation. While the people are ranting and shouting, you can see that the same APC members in Okubo, Nkoro, and Oyibo constituency are already celebrating their purported victories, describing the same election as being free, fair, and peaceful. What a contradiction and irony. The governor of River State is a God-sent messiah to people of River State. He has done everything humanly possible to bring peace. He has supported the law enforcement agent. Yesterday, Amechi and his cohort and followers did say that the election that brought Wike was handled by the former president, who provided all sorts of security that intimidated APC. What an irony today, their chairman is now saying that this is the worst election, worse than the other one. Now, they are the federal might, they are the police, they are the army, they are the SSS. So I want to put on record that every problem that has been happening in recent time in River State is a calculated attack by Dakuku Peterside and his cohort APC to create confusion in River State. We are peaceful. River State is peaceful. Everybody's going about their normal business. You can see even my local government was reckoned as one of the best in terms of the election of this party. The problem with this period, it has been on the air every time that because of election that all the killing, all the wrong happenings have been done. Want to put it on record that Dakuku and Meki and Co, they are causing problems. They should leave River State alone. We have conducted an election. They should announce the remaining elections and allow peace to reign.
All right,
Control like this, we voted for Meki and supported it for good 8 years. River State is not born. For the mere fact that a God-sent Messiah has been elected as the governor of this state,
okay,
because he was not
Mr. Obuah.
It should allow people to reign, it should allow peace to reign.
Mr. Obuah, can you hear me?
After 4 years, if he wants to come back, let him come and contest.
All right, if you can hear me, Mr. Felix Obuah.
We need peace. We are in government today. We cannot create problems in some government who are supposed to lead the people. It is who want to remove Wike by all means, by all costs, that are creating the problem. Amechi once said, and I quote, that is going to flood River State with army, with military. And he did so. But the people resisted it. I said, no, it's one man, one vote. And
All right, Mr. Felix Obuah, let me get this in. I'm also looking at the time so that I can get both of you to respond to this because, I mean, we can't have you here and not talk about this other matter. About the shootout that happened between your convoy and that of, I think, Ima Nwoke. Could you tell us what happened?
There was no shootout. What happened
actually happened is
No,
was...
Mr. Obuah, just a minute. Let's get him to respond first.
we are trying to play their master.
Mr. Felix Obuah, just hang on a bit. Hang on. We'll get you to respond, but he was directly involved in this, so we should hear him out first.
There was no shootout between my convoy and Emeka Nwoke's convoy. What happened, of course, you can verify this from the police and the SSS, was an attempt to assassinate me. I was driving on Aba Road. And as I was driving on Aba Road, my security detail first noticed that 2 jeeps and 2 Hilux vehicles were trailing me. I had a convoy of 3 cars. 1 in front, the car was in, and a Hilux behind. Just 3. And we got to the UTC area of Port Harcourt. One of the Hilux tried blocking my car, and somebody opened the door and pulled out a gun. And my driver was smart enough. Incidentally, I was being driven by my friend, not a driver this time. My friend was smart enough. He turned back to Aba Road. And these guys kept trailing. By then, there was some shooting.
Where
behind.
were they training you from?
I noticed, we first noticed it at Waterlines, part of Port Harcourt on Aba Road. At Waterlines, there was a lot of shooting, and gun has become a way of life in Port Harcourt. So when my teacher told me that some guys behind us were shooting into the air, and there was a radio communication by the police that there's some shooting going on in Waterline, I just dismissed it and I said, well, it's one of those things we have to live with, the burden we have to live with when leaders are foisted on the people. And we continued.
Was this when you were leaving, or did you get to Isiokpo in Ikore on your way out?
I'll talk about that, but let's talk about this incident.